Hi, thank you for visiting my RC channel. My name is Bill and I'm an RC radio control enthusiast, and I also do RC reviews. Thank you for joining me for this review of the Xiaomi Fimi A3 5.8 GHz 1000 meter or 1 kilometer FPV GPS quadcopter drone that comes with a 1080p HD camera on a 2-axis mechanical gimbal and a 3-axis electronic gimbal. Supplied courtesy of Banggood.com to share with you. And I've been asked so many questions about this drone, so I'm quite pleased that I've got one to review and share with you now. It comes nicely packaged in this box. It's got a carry handle and got a UK plug adapter that came with it too. The box is pretty plain, and if I open it, comes packaged like this. So we've got a quick start manual, disclaimer and safety instructions, the drone, the radio controller, power for the battery charger, propellers, and a couple of cables. So let me just get this out of the box. So this is everything unpackaged. I've put 3 of the props on already, and what I really like about this is these props just clip on. So if you look at this prop here, it's got a red marking, and on this arm here and this arm here we've got a red marking. So these are for the props that have the red marking, and you just put this in here, down, turn it, and it pops up again, and there's a little locking clip there, and these are the props. So easy to keep in the box because it's very quick and easy to put the props on and take them off. A nice style, shape and design. It feels a very good quality plastic, slightly flexible, and should be very durable. Diagonally, this is just over 32 centimeters long, weighs 560 grams with the battery, and has a maximum flight speed of 18 meters per second. Brushless motors, and here is the 1080p camera, so they can tilt from 90 degrees to 0 degrees, has an 80-degree field of view, and can record at 1920 by 1080p at 60 frames per second or 30 frames per second. So it's on a 2-axis gimbal for pitch and for roll, and then for yaw it's supported by electronic image stabilization, and quite nicely suspension mounted in here as well. Now I've seen you can get 3D prints to print a protector to hold this more stable in transit. Rubber feet under all 4 of the arms. Got LED lights on all 4 of the arms, but facing outwards, not directly underneath. Here's the main on and off button. So to power this on, you give the power button a short press and then a long press and hold it, and then the lights come on. So we've got white lights in the front, red and green lights at the back, which will change once it's calibrated properly and ready to go. and then to power off, short press and then a long press and hold, and it powers off. Now under this cover over here, this is what is called a DIY port. And this is very interesting because with this you can attach a servo, you can attach LED lights, you could possibly attach an additional camera, and there's 2 screw mounts here, provision for something, or that you can secure something on beneath here. These holes for cooling, and also probably to make it a little bit lighter. And fishermen might like this because if you can put a servo on at the bottom, can take a line out, flick a switch, can drop the line, and the quad can return. And over here we've got the battery, and this is an 11.1 volt 3-cell 2000 mAh LiPo battery that should be good for a flying time of 21 minutes if you charge it with the stock charger that comes with it, and if you charge it with a hobby grade charger at 4.35 high voltage, you should be able to get a flying time of around 25 minutes. But we will see when we fly it. And if you have a look here, here's the SD card slot, so you can record the camera footage directly onto an SD card. And here we've got a micro USB port that we can plug the supplied cable that comes with it into a computer and do a firmware upgrade. Now there are firmware upgrades to be done, and I've upgraded the firmware already on this. And to do this, basically if I put the battery back in here, got to power on the drone as I've showed you, and then once it's powered on, plug the USB cable into here, plug this into the computer, and you should see 2 folders pop up, and one of them is an upgrade folder, and then you'll need to copy the bin file into that folder, disconnect the cord, power off the quad, power it on again, and then when you power it on again, the 2 white lights in front will flash for quite a while and then stop, and the quad will be powered off, and that will be the firmware upgrade complete. And to get the firmware updates, you go to this website, www.fimi.com. Make sure you select the Fimi A3 as a model, and their firmware updates for the flight controller, which is for the quad, for the radio controller, and also for the camera. Then to charge with the stock charger, just plug this into main power port, plug this into here, and then you plug the balance lead into here, and then the other end into the balance plug over here. A red and green light comes on, and when it's finished charging, the green light goes off. Also comes with 2 spare propellers, and this radio controller. Let me just get the other things out of the way and we'll have a closer look at the radio controller. Now this radio controller comes packed with so many features, I could really just do a review of the radio controller on its own. But I'll take you through the functions very quickly, but I won't go into it in any great detail at this stage. The first thing is, if we have a look here, this has got an SD card slot because this has an inbuilt DVR. So you can also record the flight footage or what appears on the screen here directly onto a DVR at 720p. And this is useful if something happens to the drone, because we also have playback on this, and you can play back and see where the drone was at the last sighting or position. A little reset button here if it needs to do a hard reset. Got the micro USB port here to charge the battery, because this also comes with a 1-cell 3.7 volts 2950 mAh LiPo battery that should last for about 2.5 hours. And over here we've got an AV out port. You can plug a 3.5mm compatible jack into, and then also plug into goggles or another DVR or device and see the flight footage and telemetry that appears on the screen too. And to power it on, just press and hold the button here. Powers up, and we've got this bright 4.3-inch screen with a 480 by 272p resolution. Here's a button to switch between sport mode and GPS mode. We've got a joystick to toggle through the menu here. This is a return to home button. Gimbal sticks feel good and responsive. Got a rocker switch here. This rocker is to adjust the angle of the camera. This rocker over here is used to support the DIY port, so whatever you put on you can link in to use this. So like a servo, for example, you can move the arm. On the back here, this button here, B, short press, take a photo, and a long press to start and stop video. And this is an I/O button also related to the DIY port. Antennas just fold up like this, and we've got some holes here which I think is meant to attach a sunshade, but I still haven't seen a sunshade available for this, and could be an issue with having the sun reflecting on the screen during flight. But I have also seen an innovative 3D printed sunshade that can also be printed for this. So here we've got the menu, but the first thing I'm going to do is go down, right down to the bottom here to About, and over here we can see what the current firmware versions are. But now the FC, we can't see anything because the drone's not powered on, and we can't see anything for the camera because the drone's not powered on yet. But if we have a look here, RC, which is the remote control, is firmware version 1020, and the firmware page I showed you earlier, the latest firmware for this radio controller is 1022, that was released on the 18th of July. So to power off, just press and hold the power button. And I've downloaded the update bin firmware file onto this 32GB class 10 micro SD card, and this radio controller can take a SD card up to a maximum of 32 gigabytes, and the SD card slot for the camera on the drone can take up to a 64 gigabyte SD card. After formatting it on a FAT32, I put that file on. So now never put a SD card in this when it is powered on. So put this in here now. And now when I power it on, this should update the firmware. And as you can see, busy upgrading, and don't power off during this process. When it completes, powers off, I power it on again. Go back into the settings. Go back to about, and now I can see that it's upgraded to version 1022. Press any key to exit. I'll just take you through the settings very briefly while we're here. First of all, we get Smart Flight. These are the features. We've got Return to Home, Auto Takeoff, Auto Landing, Orbit Flight, Follow Me, Selfie Mode, Headless Mode, Fixed Wing Mode. Now Fixed Wing Mode is almost like flying an aeroplane. It'll only go forward and not go backwards. Cinematic Mode, and Exit Smart Flight. Go back into the menu. We look at camera settings. Here you can set the video resolution to 30 frames per second or 25 frames per second. I'm going to leave it at 30 frames per second. You can take pictures 4K. You can do super fine, fine at 40 MBS or normal. I'll just leave it at 40. Go EV, change ISO settings, change shutter settings, change saturation, change contrast. Look at the TF card capacity. I don't seem to have anything, so I'm probably going to have to format it. So let's just go here, and I can format the card here. Press OK, press OK. Restore default parameters. Then we've got GPS mode settings. You can limit the flight speed, so maximum is 18 meters per second. You can limit the flight altitude. Yeah, I've got it at 120 meters, which is fine. You can do flight distance. Now this can go further, so if we go here, I can, for example, go 1,500, 2,500. Let me just do this. And I'll change it to 1,000 meters. The altitude of return to home set at 30 meters. I'm happy with it at 30 meters. Home point update. The drone current points or the remote controller current points. Wireless video channel settings. Now this is interesting because I really like the fact that this has got 5.8 gigahertz. So you can choose band A, B, E, F. I normally use band F. If I look at the channel settings, go F1, F2, F3, and I normally use F4 at 5,800 megahertz. So I'm going to set it at that and go out of here. Flight mode settings, we can go sports mode, on or off. Attitude mode, we can switch attitude mode on or off. And gimbal mode settings, we can have normal or FPV mode. We've got custom settings. Here we can customize the right dial here. Choose whether you want to fly in mode 1, 2 or 3. So I like flying in mode 2. Error message backgrounds, error message foreground, and out of there. Calibration. Now here we do compass calibration, initiate compass calibration. Can do the remote controller calibration, so do a gimbal horizontal calibration and a drone IMU calibration, gimbal horizontal fine tuning, RC pairing, so if for some reason you lose pairing or you get another drone, if you lost one or something, you can do RC pairing to pair the remote controller with the drone here. Flight records, you've got a log for flight records. System settings, you can choose language, date, time, units, metric, auto shutdown. Now auto shutdown means if you forget to switch the radio controller off, then it'll shut down automatically. But this is a little bit dangerous because if you have a look here, if you say set it to 3 minutes and you have no activity because you're distracted or something, or you're just hovering somewhere, the radio controller will power off completely. I'm going to set it to 10 minutes just in case I do forget to power it off. And then screen auto off means that if you don't use the screen for 30 seconds or 2 minutes or 5 minutes, the screen will power off. I prefer it not to do that. I'm just going to leave it on off. Sound buttons, now you can have this on, but every time you do something it's going to beep and make a noise, so I'm going to switch that off. RF mode settings, basically here we've got FCC, which basically means it broadcasts at 600 milliwatts, and if you put it on to CE, it broadcasts using 25 milliwatts. I'm going to leave it on FCC for now. Here we can format the RC TF card. Okay, formatting. Format external FC, external storage. Can do FC reset. And then we've got this here. So now let me power the drone on. Out of here. Now we can also see now with the drone powered on, we've got all this telemetry. Got the quad battery voltage, SD card timing, signal strength, and also a pre-flight checklist, RC voltage, maximum speed, RTH height, stick mode, so you can confirm all and check all your settings here. Press setting key to exit, just press here. Now unable to enter GPS mode because we're indoors, but then I would go into the menu and do compass calibration to go into GPS mode. Here we got speeds, distance and height. So these are all the basic settings of this great radio controller or remote controller. To power off, just press and hold here to power off. Power the drone off again. We also get this quick start manual, and then just a disclaimer. This is very basic. Just gives you all the details on both sides of the sheet. But you can also download a full manual on the download site that I showed you earlier, where you can download the firmware upgrades, and it gives you a more detailed instruction manual. So I'm really looking forward to flying this. You've seen all the additional features as I went through the menu here, and it also makes mention of a Droney Mode, which is basically, I think, the selfie mode, and that means that when you put it into Droney Mode, it'll actually move backwards, keep in line with the camera for focusing on yourself or any particular object. And for the price, to be honest, this really looks good quality, nice finishes, good features, but the important thing is going to be the stability and the quality of the camera. So I'm going to take it for a test flight, mainly to see camera quality. Which reminds me, I need to put a SD card in and also upgrade the camera here. I've got the bin file for the firmware update for the camera here, and the SD card goes in over here. And I put the battery back in, and I power the drone on again. It should behave like it does when I updated the firmware for the flight controller. So let me just turn it on. Okay, yeah, these white lights now are flashing, which means it's updating the camera firmware now. Does take a little while. And when it's finished, it just goes back to flashing slowly. Let's turn on the radio controller again now quickly. And I go to about. See now the firmware, the FC is 1027, remote controller 1022, and now the camera 1015. There, so it was 1015, but there was an update at the end of February and a version A of 1015 that I've updated the camera to. I also want to see what the flight performance is like during the first test flight. Also want to see what flight time we can get. I've charged the battery up using the stock charger that I showed you earlier. That says I should get about 21 minutes, so we'll see. I'm going to record video through the duration as well. Want to see how the return to home button works. Also see what happens when the battery does get low, whether it'll return to home or not. And if we do get some time, I may test some of the other features, but I will probably do that in a separate follow-up video to this. Let's see how this beauty performs. Okay, got the Xiaomi Fimi A3 turned on and the radio controller here. I'm going to start recording video on the radio control DVR, just with a short press here. And then I can see it flashing there and recording over here. Now the first thing I need to do is compass calibration. I go into the menu and go to calibration. Select calibration. I've got to press OK to calibrate first. Horizontally, flat, anti-clockwise, about 3 times. Camera up in the air, anti-clockwise vertically. It beeps and it says OK, and that is it calibrated. Press any key to exit. It says ready to take off. And to press auto takeoff, go to auto takeoff. Press OK. Okay, rising up. Holding nice and steady at about 4 meters. Just going to take a picture. Take another picture there. Take a picture there. Take a picture here. Okay, I'm going to give it a long press and start video now. And in the center of the screen here I can see video is recording. Timing the flight. Let me take it up. Okay, there we are at a height of 27 meters. Just drop the camera down a bit. Oops, too far down. Take it forward. Some video there. Take it over there. Okay, going into the sun a bit, so you can see what the video looks like a bit in towards the sun. The little view down there. A slow turn here. And back up this way. Turn around back this way. Going well, looking good. Get up a little bit higher. Just going to stop over there. Do a little pan. I'm going to try return to home and press the return to home button. Try that again. Got to just press and hold it a little bit longer. It's returning back now. Here it comes back overhead. We're at a height of 47 meters. I'll let it come down and see if I can take it out of return to home before it lands. Also just going to stop video now. Save it. Hey, 10 meters above me. I'm going to press return to home. See if it cancels it. No, it can't cancel auto return to home. So I'm going to let it land and see how close it lands to where it took off. And it's going to land very close to where it took off. Okay, I'm going to just press auto take off again. Oops. Wrong one. Okay, and here it's going up again. So return to home seems to work well. I'm going to start video again. Now I'm going to test the features in another flight. So I just want to see now how much flying time we're going to get and how this maneuvers. So let me just take it. Okay, well this maneuvers very nicely. Very fast. Sounds good, looks good. Can see the lights. Even in this bright daylight and sunlight, which is good. I want to see what's going to happen when the battery starts getting low now. And we've been in the air nearly 9 minutes. I'm going to push it a bit to see what flying time we can get with it being quite busy and going fast. impressed with how smooth this is flying. Very agile, very nice, very responsive. Not taking it too far away from the camera for now either. No sign of low battery, and we've been in air nearly 11 minutes. Still hoping to get about 21 minutes, but we are recording video and we are really pushing it. Well, I am at any rate. Up a bit higher, maybe get some better video. Let's bring it in overhead here. See if it's still holding nice and steady. Yes, still holding steady. Dropping it, now holding altitude 2. See the lights flashing. But I don't know if that's low battery. We can see the battery level still on 11 volts. Does say battery is a bit low. The screen unfortunately a little bit difficult to see in the daylight, could do with a sunshade. Still responding well, going well. Battery still holding on 11 volts. Still recording video. Still going fast. With this as well, we should see how well the gimbal's working with all the sudden movements. No sign of it losing any power. Battery's on 10.9. I'd imagine it will want to start coming in at about 10.5 volts on the battery. Or at least 10. Might come in a bit earlier if I was further away. We'll just see what it does close by. Been in the air nearly 16 minutes. I'm really going full stick, so using as much power as I can. So the flying time we get will be the best or the shortest flying time. Obviously fly it slower or not record video during the whole duration, and it would get a longer flying time. Okay, battery down to 10.8, still going well. So I want to see if we get an alarm on the radio controller. About a 7-mile-per-hour breeze, but doesn't seem to be affecting it much at all. Let's see if it'll hold steady. Also just check. Okay, down, still on 10.8 volts. 10.7 volts, and now I'm getting low battery warning, and we've been in there 18 minutes. So can I bring it in closer for it to land? I can, or else it doesn't return to home automatically. It's just going to stop or land wherever it is. Stop the clock. A great flight, good flying time of 18 minutes 15 seconds, really pushing it. Flying normally should get about 20 minutes, I would say, at least. As I mentioned earlier in the review, I only charged it with a stock charger, not a HV charger, so it could get a longer flying time. Really impressed with how it holds and how it flies and how it performs. And here are the pictures that I took at the beginning of the flight. So let me go and have a look at the video, and I'll wrap this review up on the bench. Well, that is the best and most stable footage I have seen on a 2-axis gimbal, and I dare say possibly even on a comparable 3-axis gimbal. Very impressed with the stability and the quality, even with rough maneuvering. I think if I was further away, possibly beyond 30 meters, it would have returned to home when the battery started getting low. But because it was in close proximity, it just started landing where it was. But in my next video, I'll test the functions and features. And then when the battery starts getting low, I'll keep it further than 30 meters away and see what it does if it is further away, what it does when the battery does get low and whether it will return to home. So stay tuned to see the second part of this review, where we test out all the fancy functions and features. So please subscribe, like, comment and share if you like my videos.